Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, how's everybody doing in the land of variant COVID something? Can't remember exactly what the hell we're calling it today, but I said on a previous show, pretty soon it'll be like tornadoes. We'll just give it a letter, we'll call it a name. It'll be, COVID virus Diana is now here to stay. So what are we going to do about it? I have no clue. But what I'm not going to do about it is, not minimalizing all the death and all the sickness. I'm not that guy. I have empathy. But I'm not going to live my life in fear, personally. So that's one good thing about living in the free market economy of the United States of America, at least so far. Although some might argue it's changing. We do have the right to choose, mostly. And today, I am always thrilled when I can have my man Fletcher Ellingson on, because I believe mindset eats strategies and tactics for breakfast. And Fletcher has been helping me on a personal level, helping my agents and my business for going on a year, I think. And things are working. Mindset is important, it turns out. How you doing, Fletcher?
Doing excellent. Good to be here.
Yeah, Fletcher, in October we sold, not to be braggadocious, but I'm just proud of my agents. Mm-hmm. And you worked with a lot of them, and because of your work, in large part, they did this. But we closed, trying to get the numbers right, we closed $39 million in sales, and we wrote, deals written, $42 million in sales in October.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, and we're profit sharing. I think we're going to be pushing this year, and we're one of the only, if not the only, profit sharing company. We're pushing right around $50,000 back to our agents.
That's exciting.
In hard cash.
That is exciting. And I want to say something. You said not to be braggadocious. Not being braggadocious, but what we're doing is we're celebrating what's working, isn't it? That's what we're doing.
Well, my mission in Keller Williams is to change lives to the life people want and the life they deserve, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. And I think that it's going to be hard for people to compete with me because I'm 100% committed to that.
I have no doubt. And let's talk about commitment for a second, because that's the key. That is the key, getting committed. I think sometimes when people are not seeing the results they want in their life, one of the things I usually ask them is, well, what's your commitment? Is there a commitment? Because when we make a commitment, we suddenly have the opportunity to take responsibility for that commitment. And when we take responsibility for that commitment, that's when we experience our personal power. And we can't experience it unless there's first a commitment.
Do you think sometimes people are going so fast and getting bombarded by so much information, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that they don't realize they're not committed because they're not slowing down long enough to even have a thought long enough?
Yeah, I think that definitely plays into it. I think the other thing that plays into it is they have become practiced at hedging their bets. They become practiced at being hesitant, reluctant. We're practiced at it. I was like the master at this growing up. If you asked me to commit to something, I'd be like, maybe, we'll see.
I still do it.
Yeah, it's pretty safe.
And I like to go all in. So like the one thing that you can count on me is that I'm all in. But it's at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to put that in my calendar.
Yes. And that's the same here. And that's how I used to be. And where they'd be like, all right, be there at 6. And I'd say that means in my mind 6:15 or 6:20. I was just not going to commit to anything. But then, Russ, this is what happened. I kept on seeing mediocre results in my life.
Yeah.
And
there's that.
Yes, there is that. And that was, ironically, one of my biggest fears. I didn't want to be mediocre.
Well, it's a double-edged sword too, right? Because often we don't want to be, seen in the light either.
Yep.
We want to be in the shadows.
Exactly.
So on one hand, it's like we're torn apart because naturally we don't want to stand out and be vulnerable. And at the same time, we don't want to be average and we don't want to be boring. So we're like always confused.
Yeah. And then again, so that brings it full circle. That's where the power of commitment, the power of decision can really break you out of that. Yeah. Because until you make that commitment, you can't take responsibility for it.
Yeah, I always think when I go hunting every year, which I just got back from 18 days in the Rocky Mountains, I always think about you sleeping in a casket and you cutting in front of people in Starbucks and you doing all these things when you first started learning how to be the master coach you are now, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, like committed to uncomfortability.
Yes.
To get better at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and those are some silly things that you did, but it was probably scared the heck out of you.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely scared me. I was sweating, I was shaking, and on multiple occasions chickened out.
Yeah, right. So what I do is I fly in, I take my son-in-law and my nephew both, we fly into the Middle Fork of the Salmon River, drive to Cascade, which is just about 20, 30 minutes from McCall, Idaho. They drop us off on a dirt runway. It's about a 40-minute flight into the Rocky Mountains. And then from there, we set up a wall tent. That's base camp, and then we hike up. And this year, we went 6 miles, and then we shot an elk 4 miles after that. So it was one night I got back in, and I was thinking about you, believe it or not. It's 11:30 at night, snowing sideways on this cliff of a trail. I have these big horns of a 5x6 bull elk on my back with 1/3 of the elk deboned. So I'm able to go maybe 100 feet at a time, and then I fall down, and then I can't get up because the horns are so awkward and it's so much weight that I have to kind of get on my hands and knees. And then I get wolves howling around me, and this was a pack out trip, so I don't have any weapon. It's 11:30 at night, and I'm like, yeah, this is one of those commitments that I have, like, I stop, I die right now, like legit. And I think it's healthy. I think, and my nephew, who's younger, and my son-in-law is younger, and my son-in-law never had the opportunity to do these kind of things. And it's been for 4 years in a row now. He's gone with me, and I've seen a change in him because you then, once you commit, like obviously I'm here, so I survived. And this isn't a fake wolf story. I mean, the day before somebody shot one between the eyes, and came into their camp. Like, This is not like, it's unusual that they would do that. So I'm not like,
this is not hypothetical. It's legit.
Like legit. And you're 10 miles from somewhere, and it's just this, there's some commitment there for sure. And then there's pride or this feeling of accomplishment that comes to you when you're clear-minded and you're not looking at your phone and you're not, looking at your screen, and you're just in nature. And for me, it's like a mandatory sentence in the beginning. And this year I didn't work out. So this year, and I had 2 knee surgeries. I had one when I got back and one before I left, and 2 shots of cortisone before I left. So I had this crappy knee. And I was like, I'm doing it anyway. So I hope it holds.
Yeah.
But because I think it's so important that I test myself somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think, I think we are hardwired for personal growth. We're hardwired to expand. That's when we feel alive. That's when life is awareness. And when we plateau, it's because we have stopped increasing our level of awareness, right? And so we don't feel alive. And you are a person who thrives on feeling alive. I mean, we all want that, but again, some of us have become practiced at not feeling alive. We've become practiced at feeling numb. It feels safer. That's not you. So you made a commitment to do something, and you put yourself in a position where you would have to make a commitment. And as a result, you had the opportunity to take responsibility for the commitment, and you did. So you took responsibility for it, and you made it back to camp. You're here today. And as a result of that, you got to experience this kind of this swelling of inside, like, oh, I did it. What you did is you learned how much more capacity you have than maybe you thought you did. And when we get to that point and we're like, wow, I've got that level of capacity, then suddenly other things become possible that were not even on our radar.
Yeah, I think you talk about it a lot, about being worthy, about being capable, about being flexible as humans. And I think we all are, right? But I think there's so much happening in today's world and so much polarization and fear that is manifesting itself so differently in so many different people, but it's like taken over in a way that people forgot that they're capable, worthy, and flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. People forgot, and they became practiced at something else. You know, this is no surprise, I'm sure, to you, but everything to me comes back to the practice. It's the practice of being kind. It's the practice of being fearful. It's the practice of being upset, or it's the practice of being peaceful. So it's all comes back to the practice.
Yeah, you know, there's so many lessons too, and the accountability partners. As I had my nephew and son-in-law, you know, I feel this responsibility to show them that they're capable, resourceful, flexible. They can do things they never thought possible, including kindness and generosity. So somebody, an older gentleman, shot an animal and he kind of lost it, and we stopped and said, "Hey, let's help. We're going to help you now." And when you're in the backcountry that far, that deep, that's a day. Like sometimes that's a day out. You just lost a day of your trip,
yeah,
or more, because you know you just got to do it. But that kindness, the practice of kindness and generosity, is part of your business plan, is part of your life. Man, those rewards are fascinating too, and I think that's a lost art. Hey, when we come back with Fletcher, we're going to talk more about the cosmos, I guess. I don't know what it's called. Mental toughness. I don't know, Fletcher. We're going to talk some more about something.
Sounds good.
Be right back with Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Fletcher Ellingson.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Oh, sweet home. Oh, sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. I want to talk to you about something. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel the financial pressures of the COVID virus? That was fun, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, real estate can be a game changer for you, and I'm here to help you. If you want to give me a call at 509-888-0038, I want to talk about your life and getting unstuck. We are growing rapidly. We're the fastest growing real estate company in all of North Central Washington. Give us a call. I want to help you. 509-888-0038.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kwnCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And here's Russ.
Talking about all kinds of fun stuff. Hunting trip, and as it relates to mental awareness. Fletcher, the other thing that happened, which was interesting, and I'm very proud of my son-in-law, he, for two things. This year, his first year, he started going on his own. So he's going 4 or 5 miles deep on his own. You got to remember, this young man was, had his dads and stepdads, but they were submarine guys. So they kind of grew up without a dad because they're out in, overseas or wherever underwater, right? So when he first started hunting, didn't have that experience coming from the west side of the mountains. Well, this year, he was in that same trail late at night. Texted me on the inReach, said, hey man, my light's going out. I don't know, kind of a little turned around, but not too bad, but maybe come down the trail. So leave our spike campfire and all that, get to him. And what I loved about him was A, he reached out, B, he was then honest. And he said, actually, it was probably going to be all right, but I was scared.
Yeah.
Because these wolves are freaking me the heck out, man.
Yeah.
And hey, if you've never been in a situation where there's like legit animals, whether it's cougars, bears, wolves, and you're not familiar with that, your capacity to handle that fear, that is adrenaline and the chemicals that are released in your body at that moment, I loved that he reached out, and then I loved that he admitted that it was just fear. And then we had this talk about his capacity to handle it, and the next time he'll be able to handle it better.
Yeah.
So this was part of the journey, the process. So what do we need to know about capacity?
Yeah. So capacity is a great topic, and almost all of us have a greater capacity than we realize. Like your son-in-law, he didn't realize that he maybe could make it through that situation alone. And so he reached out, which is awesome, because I always say reaching out is a sign of strength, not of weakness,
Absolutely.
right? Reaching out, asking for counsel, advice, help, that's a sign of strength. So number one, he just realized, I have it within me to reach out. Because there was probably some trepidation about, do I look weak or, right? So he found a new sense of capacity as far as what I'm willing to do. And then you showed up, you guys made it back, and now he's got this even a greater sense of ability, and he knows what a greater sense of capacity. Let me share a quick story about when I was training for triathlon, and never thought I could do triathlons. Not that there was anything wrong with my body, just a mindset, right?
They're hard.
They're hard, right? I didn't know how to swim, or I certainly had never ridden a bike that far or ran that far. So, I started doing the shorter distance triathlons, and eventually my friends said, let's do the half iron. I was like, really? I mean, I was actually upset. Like, why do we have to do that? Well, why do we have to go do those distances? But I was just coming up against myself, really. I was just mad because I didn't think I could do it. And then we ended up doing the half iron. And then that same group of friends said, well, let's do the full iron. And I was furious. I was like, really? When is it enough? But what I wasn't saying, and what I was really mad about, was because I didn't think I had the capacity. And I remember, Russ, when we were putting together our training schedules, and on my calendar, like in the weeks, I was looking at the distance I was running. Mind you, 13 miles was my longest distance. And here were my practice runs, 14 miles, 15 miles, 17 miles. And I looked at that and I was like, there's no possible way that I can do those, and especially those frequent, right? Well, I did do them. I did it. I took one day at a time. I took one run at a time. I took one swim at a time, and eventually when I completed the Ironman, that wasn't the biggest part of this whole journey, because at that point I was prepared. I had realized a new capacity in myself, but it was because of all the training that came before it. That's where the real work was done. The actual event, don't get me wrong, I had to put effort into it. But it was actually a lot more fun that day. But what I realized now, and I can never go back to my old belief system, is I actually have a huge capacity for exercise, for fitness, and for managing my thinking. Because, as you know, man, my body was in perfect shape to do it. It was the mind. That's where the battle was.
Yeah, the story.
Yep, exactly.
The story you tell yourself, which is fascinating, because we don't often take time to think about our minds as a machine that we can control. It's almost like on autopilot.
Yes.
And we're just like, that's the puppet master and we're the puppet. But our brain's the puppet master and we don't have any say. It's a fascinating psychological dilemma.
Yes.
Because it makes no sense. Like, you don't say that about your heart. Right?
Nope.
You don't think your heart has a job, and your brain's hardwired to be like a drama queen. It just hates everything. It's fearful. No trust in there. And so you got to control it, right? And then the practice of controlling it, because you say this a lot, when you're programmed from a little kid, you're nurtured in a certain way, and we all have different stories, infinite combinations of good and bad, sometimes good and evil, sadly, and that affects you.
Right.
And then we act like, as adults, it didn't affect us.
Yes.
Like, we all just went to the same place and we're all the same, or if you were just more like me, we'd get along better. And if you just get into the herd, if you just come back to the fold, and if you just stop being that person that's, blah, 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 right? Well, on the other hand, it's like, that is so unbecoming and so dangerous for your self-esteem. To be average, to me, to color in the lines is dangerous to me. Like, and I know my programming is weird, and I've been pressing envelopes a long time, but it's still like, I'm curious about your take on that. Like, if we know we're going to die, there's that old saying, there's two dates that matter and a dash in the middle, make the most of the dash.
Yeah.
Right? So I watched my dad die in 2020. My mom's on the end now. By the time the show airs, she might already passed with dementia. And I'm looking at this mortality issue. Like, caregivers probably see it all the time, but I'm looking at it, faced in my house, right? And I just remember when my dad passed away, it's like, why wouldn't you go for it?
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, it's like, and I'm not saying that's the right thing. It's just like, I don't know. I see people that have self-esteem issues and confidence problems, and that leads to other problems, and they're so worthy and they're so capable. And it's like, especially in my real estate community, where I'm trying to change your life for the life you want and the life you deserve, like I mentioned. But it's not the tactics and the strategies. It's not how to make a phone call or how to do an email or how to run an ad or how to hold an open house. That's all pretty basic stuff.
Yep.
But getting people confident in themselves.
Yep. And
that's harder.
Yeah. And what's at the core of this thing called confidence? At the core of confidence is simply a story. That's it. So if we want to get people to a new level of confidence, what we have to do is change their mental story, because confidence is simply a story.
Yeah, and what I'm finding is that the people that really could use it the most, like to change their story, are bucking the idea of changing their story the most.
Yep.
It's like this, like you would think, if I'm thirsty, I'll drink water, right? If I'm hungry, I'll eat. But if I have a confidence problem, by God, I'm not going to change anything.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean, it's like holding on to a rock at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah,
all you have to do is let go to that story. Hold on, choose another one, right?
So is that vulnerability? Is that this fear of being embarrassed, fear of being inadequate, fear of, just like my son-in-law said, I just had to raise my hand because I wasn't sure I could make it out of here.
Yeah.
But then once he realized it, now, he might do it again. He might call me next time. He has trust in me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think trust is something that is hard for people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of those things that growing up, you get burned a couple times. You're probably in life, you're probably like, I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Because, and again, this is such a good conversation, because when we stop trusting, we begin practicing something else. We begin practicing suspicion, right? We begin practicing self-doubt.
Yeah, you told me one time, fair or unfair. The problem with fair or unfair mentality is there's always a victim and there's always a perpetrator.
You got it. And we never make ourselves the perpetrator, right?
No,
so
we're
we
not.
always cast ourselves as the victim.
Yeah, I kind of admire people that say they're the perpetrator. Like, hey, I'm a jerk, but I'm going to own it, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your butt because I'm a jerk.
That's
I'm
different, right?
Yeah, I kind of admire it in a way.
Yeah.
At least you're being truthful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's I see people with so much amazing talent. I have a couple people in my office that are going to take home almost $1 million this year. They haven't been in the real estate business that long either.
That's fun.
That's fun. And that's like life changing. I mean, they're freaks. So, I mean, it's not everybody's going to do that.
Yeah.
They're amazing people. But what is cool is what I'm really excited about is that I love it when people that just come into something brand new. Real estate's a great vehicle for that because anybody can do it because it takes 90 hours. And now we're offering a free real estate school. We have almost 40 people signed up since November 1st.
Wow.
And so here's the thing. If you just embrace the concepts, and the concept is really just to be vulnerable, to be yourself, to do it today, not tomorrow, to be honest. We're not putting people on Mars here, right?
Right.
It's not Tesla. We don't have to work for Elon Musk. I'm not nearly that smart.
Right.
So I'm excited to watch the people that come in with this attitude of abundance and beauty versus what you always say that the alternative is scarcity and suffering.
Right.
So, man, we're having a good time, and I'm really enjoying, as always, the conversation with Fletcher Ellingson. When we come back, we're going to have another conversation for another segment about mindset. Stay tuned. You never know what the heck I'm going to say.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kWNCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, designated broker and operating partner of Keller Williams Realty NCW. You know, we have almost 70 agents and growing rapidly. We're almost a legit company now with over 2.5 years experience. The good news is this: if you're thinking about changing your life, my goal and my mission to you is to help you transform the life that you deserve and that you want, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. What does that mean? Well, it means whatever you want it to mean. If you want to work part-time, I'll show you how to do it. If you want to work full-time, I'll show you how to do it. And I'm also willing to show and demonstrate our commitment to you and our conviction to our company and transparency by giving you any of the numbers of any of the 70 people that work at Keller Williams. We're a family, we care about each other, and we care about you. So if you want to change your life, you want to get into real estate and have some fun, let's get together and talk. 509-888-0038. Give me a call anytime. You can also call my cell phone at 509-470-2416.
You're tuned to Russ McClellan and Friends on the Real Estate Show Home Sweet Home. Let's get back to Russ.
We're talking about mindset. We're talking about lots of stuff. I'll tell you what, this is an interesting time, Fletcher. Interesting time in the lives of people.
Very interesting, yep.
Hey, you have something going on that people should sign up for. If you have a Zoom account, if you don't have a Zoom account, you can get a hold of Fletcher. Call him, because he's going to be talking about goals. It's the end of the year, and there's, you know what? Today's a good day to start the goals. The next best day will be December 29th on a Zoom call at 6:30 p.m., and I'm going to give you your number out right now, Fletcher. It's 509-679-0927. Say it again, so get the pen. Got it? Okay, here it goes. 679-0927, or you can go to FletcherEllingson.com, or you can email Fletcher at FletcherEllingson.com. All right, tell me about goals, Fletcher. What's happening on the 29th?
You bet. Yeah, so we are going to do my favorite type of goal workshop. And I invite everybody to join me because it's a unique way to set goals. I know you're a huge goal setter, so am I. And I've been through a lot of workshops, and in my opinion, not good, bad, right, or wrong, just my opinion, there's frequently a couple important things that are missing. And it is, for me, it's the difference between achieving the goal and not achieving it. And by the way, I always like to get curious about the goals I don't hit, right? Like, get curious, like what got in the way there, you know? And was it something physical that got in the way, or was it simply mindset? And Russ, almost every single time, it's mindset.
Yeah.
But I want to point out what happens frequently when people sit down to write goals, because a lot of people, they don't like doing that. They do not, and they resist goal setting. And for me, I'm like, I love goal setting, but I have a different story than most people. See, the people who don't like it, if you ask them why, they'll eventually, through their conversation, disclose that they have a story around goal setting. And it might be like this: it doesn't work. Goal setting doesn't work for me. And one of the frequent things that happens with goal setting is this. We sit down and we get our pen and our paper out. We put down that first goal. I want to make, fill in the blank, right? Or I want to take my health and fitness to fill in the blank. And what happens is they put down this big audacious goal, and it activates fear. It activates a disempowering belief. Come on, Russ, who are you kidding? You can't grow the business to that amount. You can't make that much. You can't get in that kind of fitness, right? So it activates the disempowering voices in our head, And so that's why it doesn't feel good. So people don't like goal setting because, number one, it doesn't feel good, activates disempowering feelings and emotions. And then those ways of being, the self-doubting, those determine the actions that you can take. And if you're feeling self-doubt, you're going to take actions that are not in alignment with the goal you want. You don't get the goal. And guess what? You just confirmed, see, I told you, goal setting doesn't work.
You know, it's funny, isn't it? We often overestimate what we can do in a day when we're goal setting, and then we are let down. And we underestimate what we can do in a year.
Absolutely.
And I think that plays a part. So like think about if you want to lose weight, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. So I'm going to go to the gym January 1st. By God, my New Year's resolution, the gym's full of people, it's pumped up, everybody's flexing.
Yep.
By about January 20th, gym's empty or back to normal. Maybe not empty, but back to normal. So there's a part of that, like setting goals with the correct expectations, right? And not setting yourself up for mental failure.
Yeah.
Where does that come in?
Yeah, so actually those are the kind of the key things that we're going to do on this workshop is we are going to set you up for success. We're going to show you a way to set goals that actually feels good. So remember, because a lot of the goals that we set, they don't feel good. They don't seem achievable. Do we want to make $1 million? Sure. Do I believe I can? Hell no, right? I mean, that's what's going on in your psychology. And so the disempowering belief is going to win. So what we're going to take a look at is your stories. And we're going to blow up your old disempowering stories. We're going to find an empowering story that feels really good. Now, you may not believe this empowering story at first, but I'm going to show you how to work with that new story so that it actually begins to become feeling of certainty so that you can actually begin taking action on it and then realize the goal. It's a powerful methodology. Again, that's why I want people here. Well,
one of the things you said, and it's been said by a lot of very smart people, but you told me, you can have courage. You can't have courage. You cannot have courage without fear.
That's right.
But you can have fear without courage.
Yes.
So the people listening right now that are calling BS on goal setting, I am challenging you to not be a coward. Have the courage to prove to Fletcher you're right.
Yeah.
Show up and prove to him that his crap doesn't work.
I love it. Yeah.
Right? Because that takes courage to show up.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's again, you can have fear without courage. So it's easy to be like, oh, yeah, that guy sucks. That's stupid. I tried that in 1987.
Yes.
Well, there's people who won't list their ranches with me because I brought their daughters home late in 1988 from a dance. But that doesn't mean I'm the same guy.
Right.
All right. I mean, just because it happened once doesn't mean that it's the same every time, right?
Exactly.
It's like I said, the 30 pounds. Well, I want to lose 30 pounds, so I go to the gym for 3 days in a row, and I'm feeling good, and then I go eat a whole cheesecake or a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, and I'm like, well, shit, now I'm done. Blew it. I quit. And then a year goes by, and here we are again.
Exactly.
I still need to lose 30 pounds.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I love courageous people. I love people that are vulnerable, and I think that it's the key to success in life. Like they say, fail forward, but you know what that really means is just find the courage to step forward.
Yeah, and let's bring this full circle. We were just talking about what is at the core of confidence. We said at the core of confidence is a story. It's the same thing for courage. If you're listening to this and you're like, well, what is courage? How do I step into a courageous way of being? Courage is actually the action of reimagining what's possible. It is blowing up the story that is based in fear. Because again, what is fear? At the core of fear is a story. And so we're focused, whatever you focus on, you feel, right? So if you're focused on that fear story, you're going to experience fear. If you're focused on the story of courage, which means, no, I can get through this. I can do it. This will work out for me in the end. That doesn't mean you're still not going to have some trepidation, but if you focus on that, because what you focus on, you feel, that is called stepping into courage. But it requires reimagining the story.
Yeah, the progress is the perfection. The thing is that you feel good along the way. And I think JP, a producer, was actually saying this offline, that often people live in the past or they live in the future.
Yeah.
But they don't want to feel good in today.
Yep.
And so guess what? You go your whole life not feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah, you miss out on the only moment that actually exists.
You know what I call that? Christmas Day syndrome.
Yeah.
I've said that to you before, right?
Yeah.
You're only going to be happy when you get the present. You're not going to look forward to Christmas because you might not get the present. I mean, it's incompetent. 364, man. 364 days of feeling like crap. And then one day feeling good. Let's invert that. So the point is, that's a joke. But the point is, if you walk to the mailbox and back, and that's your goal.
Yep.
First of all, be willing to set goals that are small, like little tiny goals. I don't know if I ever told you this, but there was a time where I went to the doctor, Fletcher, and they said, your blood pressure is like 190 over 130 and your cholesterol is like 450. And if you died in the hallway, leaving my office, I wouldn't be surprised. When I was overweight and I had been drinking too much and I had stress coming out of my ears, and I have big ears, so that's a lot of stress. And so I got to make a change, man. So I made the diet change, stopped the drinking, started working out with P90X. Couldn't do dumbbells or pull-ups. Couldn't do pull-ups. So I was a 3-sport athlete, small town, big fish, little pond guy, right? Like I played football, basketball, college basketball, you name it. I went and got bands, put them around my little, like whatever it's called, it holds up your curtains.
Yeah.
A little rod, and I was just doing these silly little bands for pull-ups because it took me I was like 30 pounds overweight too, I think. So it took me like a month to do one pull-up, two pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
But then finally I was able to do 100 days in a row at a time. I finally was able to do these pull-ups. But in the beginning, boy, you know what I did? I just write it down, and I started embracing that I could just do that.
Yes.
It wasn't about what I was doing. It was just that I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you were committed to was the practice of pulling up, right? And you weren't attached to the outcome. You were practicing what needed to be practiced in order to have the outcome, but you weren't attached to the outcome. And this is so incredibly important. A lot of people they confuse success and achievement. And the way I define success is you are successful when you know who you are, when you know your outcome, and you're taking consistent action to get there. Now, nowhere in that definition did I say success is the outcome. It's not. That's achievement, right? And that's something totally different. So there are things that I do want, but I have to be successful, which means I know who I am, know what I want, and I'm taking consistent action and little baby steps.
Yeah, amazing how good it feels too. And I was a wreck. Man, guys, I was telling you, I was a wreck. I was writing down how much I was drinking at the time. I put 3W for 3 glasses of wine, 2 vodka. I'd write it down. And then after a while, I started looking back and like, wow, I'm pretty good at this, drinking stuff. I think I better slow down.
I'm really practiced at this.
I really practiced at it. So no wonder I feel so good. It was garbage. So anyway, you just have to be honest with yourself sometimes, you know, and we're all in different places and we all have issues and we all have things we got to overcome and challenges that we have. And real life is going to smack you in the face and real stuff sucks. And you got a choice, man. Every day you got a choice to step up or sit down. So I appreciate you coming on the show because I think we can help a lot of people. And I think, take a chance, get some courage.
Yeah. Prove
for Fletcher this program doesn't work. Go to December 29th at 6:30 p.m. You can get hold of him, 509-679-0927. Go to FletcherEllingson.com or Fletcher@FletcherEllingson.com. All right. Thanks, sir.
Right on.
We'll be right back with Sharon Crockett and PrimeLending.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.
Hey, this is Russ, McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com. Hi, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I have an exciting opportunity that I want to share. Starting November 1st, Keller Williams is partnered with the largest real estate school in the country, and we are now offering free real estate training. That includes not just the 90 hours that you need for pre-licensing requirements by the state of Washington, but real-life practical experience as well. Give us a call at 509-888-0038 or email us at joinus@kwnCW.com.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And here's Russ.
Today I got Sharon Crockett. We're very lucky because Sharon Crockett is in the house on the airway calling in with PrimeLending. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, good morning. How are you, Russ?
We're doing great. Yeah, you're always so energetic. How do you do it? Like, you're always positive and you're always like solution-based in your communication. And I just think it's kind of a lost art these days. I hear so many other people that are just, this problem, that problem. But with PrimeLending, it seems like it's just a solution-based mentality. Like, we have the answers.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I love that. And, I think to think about that, I wonder where that comes from. And my dad, who was a captain in the Army for many, many years, he instilled a really good work ethic in both my sister and I. And as he raised us to just always be hardworking and never lazy or always involved and forward thinking kind of mentality. So I think that comes from him.
Yeah, I bet it does. And that's cool that he served in the Army, as did my dad. And my son was a Marine, so I admire those kind of guys. And the other thing I think you and Michael bring is authenticity, which is something, like you really care about people at PrimeLending, and then you're authentic in your conversation. So you're not necessarily a salesperson. You're not necessarily going to sugarcoat it. You're going to tell people what's up, but you have a plan of attack with optimism and authenticity at your core. So I just admire that. Today I thought,
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We've been working together on the show now several years, and it's been fun. And I just am very thankful, to be your friend and to be in business with you guys. I know.
Likewise,
we
feel the same way.
Thank you. We've come a long ways in our third calendar year. We just did $39 million in sales in October, and we wrote deals written $42 million in sales. Long ways from 3.5 years ago, but we're excited.
Yeah, time flies when you're
rocking. Yeah, and you're a big part of that. So I'm just grateful. So today, one of the things that people are talking about, there's this inflationary talk, and there's this inflation where the cost of the dollar is going down, what the dollar's worth is going down, and the cost of goods and services are going up. And sometimes most of the time that means when you're in an inflationary market that interest rates are going to start to click up. So refinancing right now is a hot topic. And I'm just curious if you're seeing that, and what are some of the things to think about if someone is thinking, I think I'd like to refinance. What would you tell them?
Yes. We're getting a lot of calls right now on refinancing for many, many different reasons. And so it's a real exciting time to take a look and go into that advisory role that we like to do with our clients to make sure we're not just, trying to get a loan done, but really give them advice to look at the full picture. And so lots of different reasons people might call us for refinancing, from anywhere from lowering the interest rate. Believe it or not, there's still some people out there that have higher rates and they can take advantage of that. Maybe they want to lower their term from a 30-year. We can go down to 10-year, 15, 20, 25, or 30 if they want to restart the clock by lowering payments. Removing mortgage insurance is another big topic. With all the equity that people have, we've done so many refinances just from last year, people calling us, and their values have gone up so much that we were able to remove their PMI, their private mortgage insurance, which is something you have on your loan if you did not or were not able to put 20% down, switching from an FHA to a conventional loan, pulling cash out to pay off bills, do home improvements, maybe buy another home, buy some land, vacation, college. So we're getting those calls, all sorts of different reasons people might be refinancing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not something like private mortgage insurance isn't something on a conventional loan that just automatically drops. Is it? Or after a certain period of time it does. But if you can prove that you have 20% in equity, let's say you put 10% down and like you said, a year later, it's gone up over 10%. Now you in essence have 20% or more in equity. So you would be able to essentially refinance and pull out a certain amount of money every month that is part of your payment, but it goes to this insurance company, correct?
Correct. Yes, it's basically insuring the lender in case the client unfortunately defaults on their mortgage. Then that mortgage insurance kicks in and pays a portion of the balance down. But yes, if their equity does grow, then there's a couple different ways to get rid of PMI. You can either refinance and do a new appraisal, or sometimes we don't even need to do an appraisal. If the value model is there, we can waive the appraisal. But if someone's just looking to have their mortgage insurance automatically dropped, they usually have to make a year or two of on-time payments. And then if the values have increased, they can ask their servicer, whoever they're making their payments to do an appraisal just to get the mortgage insurance dropped and not refinance. So there is a way to automatically do that. And then a conventional loan, like you mentioned, after about 7 to 12 years, depending on the loan type and how much they put down, the mortgage insurance will automatically fall off, but that's usually after many, many years. So you can either petition them to get it removed sooner or just do a simple refinance, which takes care of removing that.
Yeah. The intangibles that you bring as a lender, a mortgage broker to our business is something that, unless you're in the game of real estate, they may not see. But what you guys are really good at is, you mentioned the word appraiser. We had one of your longtime appraisal colleagues and friends give a presentation to my real estate company at a sales rally recently. And it's interesting to me how many mortgage brokers don't have relationships and with their appraisers and some of the challenges that can bring. But again, going back to that solution-based thinking, but also how hard you work after and during and before. I mean, it's a complete package. So the idea of appraising right now is a hot topic as well. And maybe you could share just a couple highlights of why you guys seem to be different in the game of processing a loan.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're all about being proactive and thinking ahead. And that probably also comes from my dad's military background. In the military, you're always having to think, 5-10 steps ahead just in case of what's going to happen. So the same thing applies to a mortgage. When we have a client that comes in and either purchases a home or refinances, we've already got a system in place that's lined up with the right communication to give the client the expectations of what to expect, to know the market, to know what our appraisers are dealing with, to know the challenges that come with that, so that we can legally work within the laws that exist in regards to appraisals and all the different parts of a process to make sure that we're, ahead of that game and giving the clients and the real estate agents a real good 5-star experience, so that a lot of that is seamless, where you don't always know what we're doing behind the scenes, and we're making it smooth so that you guys don't have to worry, and then the clients either. So
yeah, and I want to say again, thank you to you and Michael for helping my son Mason McClellan, who just got out of the Marine Corps and retired as a sergeant. He was in for 5 years, and as a young man just bought a house in the Chelan area. I said,
Yes.
it's Chelan, and he's a young man, so he has some work. It's a fixer-upper, but I said, I'm going to introduce you to a couple words. They're called sweat equity. But you guys were able to help him get into it, and he used the rehab or enhancement renovation type loan where it was a 90-year-old house and had some issues, but we were able to, basically close on the loan with the house as is, so the seller got paid. And then some of those bigger ticket items like septic and heating and cooling systems are going to be put in now after closing and then financed into his loan. And I think in our market with people like my son and frankly, many of us that live in North Central Washington, the way the market is appreciated, it's getting harder and harder to find an affordable product if you have a regular, professional job in this area. So those kind of loans and that kind of creativity, I think, if you don't think you can do something because somebody else told you, if you're listening to me right now, I've been doing this for 3 decades in this area. Call Sharon and call Michael, because not everybody is the same. And maybe you got some bad advice, or maybe that advice is old news, and now PrimeLending has a solution, like my son, because frankly, if it wasn't for you guys, he would not own a house. It's that simple.
Oh, we're so happy that Michael did a great job working with Mason, and we thank him for his service to our country. And I'm so happy that he's got his own place. And we're happy to give people second opinions. I mean, there's so many different situations out there. If someone's working with another lender or a bank and they simply just want to expand their options, or they're just not sure, then we're happy to have a conversation and just see what, if there is any other options or things that we can do to help people get to their goals.
Yeah, I mean, I just told my daughter's looking over on the other side of the mountains, which is even harder. And I told her, hey, look, would it be fair to say that 95% of the people are looking for 3 and 4 bedroom houses? And she goes, yeah. And I said, so why don't you look for a 1 or 2 bedroom house, use this enhancement loan, and then add a bedroom or 2? And one of the things your appraiser said, we got about a minute left, but one of the things your appraiser said is that square footage, when you add square footage, is one of the best ways to add equity or have a greater appreciation. And so that program is just really, if you can't find the home you're looking for, call one of our agents and talk to Michael and Sharon at PrimeLending, because there may be a way that maybe only 5% of the people are looking at that 2-bedroom house, and you buy that at X price, then add the bedroom through this enhancement loan, and all of a sudden you have instant equity, even in an extreme seller's market. So
I love it. That's a great idea. So creative and goes with our proactive thinking.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for calling in here. If you have any questions at all, you can get a hold of Sharon at 425-327-1451. I appreciate you very much, Sharon. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Appreciate you too, Russ. Have a great day.
All right, everybody. Go outside, spend some time with your friends and family, enjoy life, practice kindness, show some grace, show some forgiveness, and enjoy the moment. As my man JP said, live in the moment. See you next year.
It's a brand new day, just came my way. I bought a new home, yeah, home, sweet home, oh, home, sweet home. Keller Williams, I love my dream home. Yeah, I love my dream home. Home, sweet home.